Hi everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to the month ahead astrology reading. Make sure you check your sun, moon, and rising signs for a comprehensive view of the month. Additionally, I would recommend watching the tarot reading of the month ahead to get a different perspective. While you will know the astrology in advance through this session, I will also send you a reminder when the astrological events are near. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified as the events occur through my community page. I occasionally post behind the scenes, meditation guidance, quizzes, and polls, which you can check out for yourself. And it goes without saying that you will be notified when new videos are out, such as other zodiac readings and pick a card tarot readings as well. If you prefer to cut down the guesswork about your month ahead, you can always connect with me via Etsy to get a personalized week-by-week month ahead tarot reading paired with the general astrology. Enough about me, let's talk about you. So let's talk a little bit about the overview of the month first. We have two full moons this month. One on the 1st of August is a full moon in Aquarius, and on the 31st we have a full moon in Pisces. On the 16th, we have a new moon in Leo, so lots of lunar events occurring this month compared to the previous ones. Other interesting things is that Mercury is going to go retrograde in one of its home signs, Virgo, and the shadow period for that is going to start on the 3rd of August, and the retrograde itself occurs on the 23rd of August. The zodiac sign moves from Leo season to Virgo season, also on the 23rd, and Mars is changing signs from Virgo to Libra on the 27th. Apart from that, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde as well. And keep in mind, Venus is still retrograde at this time, and so is Neptune, even Saturn. So we have lots of planets going retrograde. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, Venus as well. Okay, so lots of retros. Okay, let's get into it and see what this means. So for you, Aquarius, on the 1st, the full moon that occurs in Aquarius is going to be lighting up your first house of personality, individuality, how you assert yourself, how you feel about yourself, and are you expressing as originally as you would like to. Now, because full moons are time of opposition, there is the sun in your 7th house of Leo, which brings into focus other people and certain projections that may have been occurring. So new information can come to light regarding your desires within relationships, or your partner might, whether or not it's a new relationship or a long one, your partner might show some type of other priorities or other interests. So this is a nice time to pivot, close a certain chapter, and ready to begin something new. It's also about harvesting your rewards. If you've been putting in efforts with relationships and also yourself, then this is the time that you're likely going to experience the fruits of your labor. Full moons in general are about completion and pivot. So some major changes can happen, but certain cycles can also come to a close. The same day, we have a trine between Mars in Virgo with Jupiter in Taurus. Now, Mars is in your 8th house of physical intimacy, your loans, investments, other people's properties and shared resources. And Jupiter is in your 4th house of home, family, security, and stability. So 4th, 8th, and 12th houses are generally quite introverted or internal, and you're likely to feel this more on a private level. It's not going to be so apparent in terms of a job change necessarily, but it is going to be like shifting your homes or buying a new home, making a solid investment so that you feel quite secure. Now, it's an earth trine, so it's going to bring in harmony in a more physical or a tangible sense rather, and this can be talking about enhancing your self-worth, and therefore you're more assertive in terms of getting what you want, or it can be about making certain transformations and changes in the way that you approach your routines and lifestyles that is going to help you in feeling much better about yourself, which of course indirectly then leads to career changes or your shifts in your prosperity. But in terms of like direct manifestation, it is likely going to be more about you and what you are doing and feeling at this time. On the 2nd, we have an opposition between Mercury in Virgo with Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is retrograde at this time. So Virgo, once again, is lighting up your 8th house, and Pisces is in your 2nd house of personal finances. Now it's a time to, brainstorm, restructure, and think about where are you feeling limited in terms of your financial well-being. Is there something else you want to try out? Perhaps there are other ways of making an income. Or you maybe want a side hustle and you want to see what's out there. What would be a good investment? Perhaps it's a wise idea or not. You might be compelled to connect with someone who is more of an expert, such as an accountant or something, who can, advise you in this situation. But I see that you're also taking into account how you think and what you feel about the whole market in terms of a more practical sense. On the 7th, we have a square between the Sun in Leo and Jupiter in Taurus. So this is a square between your 4th and your 7th house. This can talk about your partner not being able to give you a lot of time, and you might feel as though you are doing what you want to do and you're expanding or taking care of the home duties around this time. Even if you don't have a partnership here, this can be talking about feeling at odds with what you're wanting to manifest within a relationship or for your relationship life, and what has your conditioning been, or what has been ongoing, basically. Okay, perhaps you're busy at work or at home, okay, and you did not have the time yet to go outside and meet new people. This can indicate that kind of stress, that you're unable to connect with that relationship sector of yours. Although, because Jupiter is a benefic planet, regardless of square or no square, it is still going to give you an opportunity of, this is where you can find a partner if you have the time. Okay, whenever you have the time, this is where you could go, or this is something you could try. Okay, but maybe on this particular day, you don't have that opportunity yet. In terms of business partnerships as well, you have plenty of ideas, but you might still have a lot of things going on in your own personal life, and you're kind of just finishing that up or taking care of that first before you get to the other stuff. On the 9th, we have another square between Venus in Leo and Uranus in Taurus, and Venus is retrograde at this time. So since Venus is retro, it's going to bring about, lovers from the past, because this is in your 7th house of relationships. But it can also talk about taking another look at what has been your relationship pattern, for example. How do you relate to other things like your finances, abundance? What sounds like prosperity to you? What seems like abundance for you? How hard or easy do you think it is to attract someone or something that you're passionate about? Now, if you're already in a partnership, in a relationship, this is again asking you to take another look at where you need a little bit of flexibility or freedom. Venus squaring with Uranus is all about that, getting yourself out of stagnancy and a rut. This can come in the form of frustration or aggression at this time. For example, I've done so much, it's not working. What am I not seeing? Okay, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this, and I'm just going to have to break out of this type of cycle. I'm just going to have to figure it out, and I don't know what. Okay, so it can feel a little bit frustrating, but this trigger is extremely useful. It is actually trying to help us out to figure out new ways of feeling fulfilled. On the next day, on the 10th, we have a trine, another Earth trine between Mercury and Virgo with Jupiter in Taurus. So earlier it was Mars trining with Jupiter, now it is Mercury. Now Mercury is about the mindset, and that being in your 8th house, it's talking about your psyche, your subconscious belief systems, your conditioning, how you share your personal life, what are your boundaries. Perhaps you're having some intimate conversations with someone and you're building a strong foundation and a strong relationship with them. In terms of finances as well, this looks pretty good in terms of businesses, and the loans, investments, etc. that you are taking or have going on is as well looking nice. There can be some useful information or advice that comes to you that makes you feel optimistic about certain home goals or certain other projects you might have going on, that is about enhancing your self-worth or stability. On the 13th, we have a conjunction between the Sun and Venus is retro, of course, and this is all happening in the sign of Leo in your 7th house. So this includes kind of clarity, but also there can be some minor transformations that occur on this particular day, or a couple of days, 2 days before, after, because conjunctions can have a little bit of a bigger orb or a bigger radius of effect. So this can be about having a clear conversation or a clear thought that comes through other people or with other people or as a result of a conversation you have with someone else that gives you the clarity you need. Okay, and this clarity can be coming for a particular topic that you're thinking about around the 7th or the 9th. Things that were squaring up and feeling a little bit frustrating around the 7th till the 9th, that is going to clear up around this weekend. On the 16th, we have a new moon in the sign of Leo. So we now have gone through this frustrating ride and then we finally get the clarity. But on the 16th, we are finally ready to start something new. Whatever information that has come through, the way that you've incorporated that information within yourself, and also how other people or which other people are willing to help you out, everything kind of culminates and comes together around this time. This can also talk about new relationships, by the way, but I'm not going to hold out on too much hope around this time for new partners because Venus is retro again. It can be someone that you already have a relationship with, not necessarily romantic. For example, you're living with them, they're your roommate, you're already friends with them, you work with them, and so on. You know, someone you're already connected with. With them, you can have a newfound, dynamic that's happening. On the same day, we have a square between the Sun and Uranus. So Sun is in Leo in your 7th house. Uranus is in Taurus in your 4th house. So once again, there can be a little bit of a frustration and desire for breaking the rules or breaking out of a specific pattern or the norm because you don't want to be feeling stuck in any way. But because Taurus is in that 4th house, sometimes it can feel a little bit unconscious, like you might not see very clearly what exactly is stopping you. And it requires a little bit of an investigation. But luckily, because the Sun is in your 7th house, you might get some form of clarity through someone who's quite supportive. The same day, we have a trine between Mars in Virgo with Uranus in Taurus. So this talks about taking action, forward action. It's not about sitting still this particular day. And squares also encourage action along with that. When we have the Martian energy coming in, it's all about, making that forward progress. This can be talking about having breakthroughs and liberation in your inner self or in your home and family environment. And it gives you a clear sense of direction and purpose that, okay, now I can connect with someone. Now that I've figured out why I'm not able to, grow very intimate or why I'm afraid of commitment, etc., I'm now much better equipped to handle a long-term relationship or to partner up with someone, to open up and trust someone else, etc. On the 21st, we have another trine. This is a fire trine between the Sun in Leo with the North Node in Aries. So this is quite purposeful because the North Node opens up the fate and it brings in purpose, growth, expansion, but it can feel a little bit uncomfortable at times because it's something unexplored or we're a little bit scared to explore. But because there is a trine aspect, it indicates that the direction is so clearly lit up, that there are so many signs and synchronicities occurring and telling you which way to go, that it's going to be quite effortless. Now, because Aries is in your 3rd house, this can be literal communication coming in. Colleague tells you something, you get a notice, a flyer, you get an email, a text message. It can be out of the blue as well when we have the North Node over there. This can also talk about you desiring to go back to school, or you want to study further, you want to go for further training, etc., to, up level your skills. And through that, you're able to meet other people and experience a much greater diversity than what you're used to, but at the same time you're quite excited about this opportunity. So in whichever case that you utilize this, it is likely going to be quite creative and passionate. On the 22nd, we have a square between Venus in Leo with Jupiter in Taurus, and now Venus is retrograde, of course, and this can be a little bit about, overindulgence because both of them are benefic, but look out for overspending and you might purchase something which is quite expensive and you thought that you wanted, but then when Venus goes direct again, you might be like, I could do without this. It was not absolutely necessary, right? So look out for that. But apart from this, it is really, really good when it comes to figuring your priorities out, okay? Like, is there something that you have been just, doing out of habit, but it doesn't really resonate with you anymore? This would be the perfect opportunity to break out of that cycle. Okay, on the same day, we have another opposition between Mars in Virgo with Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is retrograde at this time. So, in general, this looks like it's going to be about where have you been kidding yourself? Where are there illusions and where could there be a little bit more reality? Like, is it possible to take so many actions in so many different directions? It can be yes, it can be no, but this would be the time that you ask this particular question or it is being asked to you. Now, of course, this is lighting up your financial houses, so it can be about, you can't split your focus in multiple directions and that you have to be single-minded. Or it can be that the investments that you were thinking previously, new information comes to light, or you are thinking of expanding your search and not taking any, not promising anything at this time, which would actually be a good idea given that Venus, who's the planet for finances, is retrograde. But that's a judgment call. Of course, everyone has a different chart. But in general, it's not really the best time to make big promises and big purchases either. So there can be some new direction coming in, or some illusion is being lifted. For example, you might find out that a promise that someone else made, that, oh yeah, this investment is going to give you great returns, it's just the best. It can be that you meet someone and they tell you, yeah, well, it's not that great, and they're just trying to drum up their business and it's not really that effective. Okay, so in whichever case, it seems a little bit more helpful rather than not, but it can feel a little bit unpleasant in that time. On the 23rd, we have two things happening, major things happening. First, the sun moves into Virgo, and it is officially Virgo season. So wherever the sun goes, the focus and clarity goes. We are likely to, try to expand on that, or many themes unfold which affect that area of life. So for you, it is going to be your 8th house. So your personal transformation, shared resources, other people's finances, such as taxes, investments, also how you connect intimately with another person. And just personally, like, how is your psyche in general? How are you feeling about yourself? Are there certain habits that stop you, that make you feel a little bit toxic? If that is the case, you might be trying to figure out how you can change these particular things. And why I say that is because the same day we have Mercury moving into retrograde. Okay, it's going to station retrograde in the sign of Virgo itself. Now, Mercury rules Virgo, so it's going to be pretty strong over here. Make sure you back up all your information. Don't make any big purchases, or sign major contracts if you can help it, of course. And even if you do sign contracts and so on, like if you need a job, you need a job, right? Just because Mercury is going retrograde, life does not stop. I understand that, but just make sure that you read it through carefully, the contract itself, read the fine print. I cannot emphasize that enough. Also, be prepared that there may be some terms and conditions that change while Mercury is retrograde or when it goes direct again. As long as you're remaining flexible and open to see the opportunity through, it is going to be okay. Now, apart from that, Mercury in Virgo going retrograde in your 8th house is going to be about, where do you stop yourself? Where is your mindset inhibiting you from finding success or abundance or prosperity, joy, all of these things? Are there certain conditioning or belief systems that you have not yet observed and is having a more deeper impact than you had imagined? Is there some, cultural topics that are going on that have had a subconscious influence on you, certain fears, insecurities, shadows, etc. Like I was giving you the example of commitment issues, for example, or certain addictions that can come up here for recalibration and revision. Okay. On the 25th, we have another Earth trine. This is between Mars in Virgo with Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto is retrograde at this time. Now, this is... Capricorn is in your 12th house, right? And Virgo is in your 8th house. So once again, it's quite internal and maybe a little bit more abstract than the 4th and 8th house activation. But it is still going to lead to some profound insights or information. If you can find some time for yourself, it would be a very good and a beneficial aspect for you, because in this way, information or transformations can just easily flow into you. Because it's a trine aspect, the blessing is already there. It's not going to just vanish and have no effect on you. But if you can also consciously tune in, you can kind of embrace the kind of the advice or the transformative energies that are already present with Pluto in that 12th house. There can also be changes in your spiritual beliefs and practices, the way that you meditate, or, what you think while meditating, what you're focusing on when you're silent, in times of isolation, how you work from behind the scenes, especially if you have like a work from home and you mainly do your tasks without anybody's interference, and then you just showcase your final product out into the world or whatever, in that situation, the way you work behind the scenes is also going to be changing, but for the better, and it can kind of light up your determination as well. You might be like, this is what I was looking for. I didn't even see it. It was right in front of me. Okay. On the 27th, we have an opposition, again, lighting up your financial houses. Sun is in Virgo in your 8th house, and Saturn is in Pisces in your 2nd house. Saturn is retrograde at this time. So once again, restructuring the way you feel about your finances, how you associate with your priorities. What are you investing in terms of your time, money, effort, and energy? So this is going to bring about some nuances and solutions. You might be again brainstorming a little bit over here, or if you have already brainstormed, this would be the time to go over it and look at it in much more detail to see if anything makes sense, if anything would stick for the long haul. The same day we have Mars moving into Libra. Okay, now Libra is in your 9th house, and it's about, foreign cultures and foreign languages. It's about long distance travel, visas, immigration, belief systems, philosophy, worldview, your future plans. Now Mars moving over there, it's a nice placement because it pushes you towards your purpose. You are more likely to look for answers in a bigger perspective rather than the fine details. Also, it is about, really tackling whatever has been holding you back, for sure. Like Mars, wherever it goes, it does not want to hold itself back. But because we have Libra over here, Mars in Libra, that too, it is going to be more diplomatic, okay? You're more likely to be a cause for justice. If you're fighting for a cause or an equality, you might find yourself rebelling, but not as obviously as, if Mars was in Aries or in some other placement, which is a fire sign, let's say. But through this diplomacy, you're likely to create some bigger changes in your personal life, but also for the broader spectrum, basically. Okay. Now, Mars is not very much at home in Libra, so it is likely to suppress or repress anger and other, unpleasant emotions or impulses, rather. So look out for that one, because if you brush many things under the carpet, it just becomes an entire mountain, and it can be quite disturbing towards the end, because ultimately Mars is going to explode no matter which sign it is in. So as long as you're managing your thoughts, understanding yourself, and kind of moving forward with purpose, it's going to be quite nice. On the 29th, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde. So there's not going to be that many shocks and surprises when Uranus is retro, but that also means that if we are trying to make some big changes happen, it might be delayed until Uranus goes direct again. But don't fear, it doesn't mean that whatever you do around this time has no effect. It will, but it is only going to manifest once it is going direct. So, what else can we see here? Now, Uranus, of course, is your ruler. Okay, and that being in Taurus at this time can be a little bit, disruptive to your basic stability. You're still a fixed sign, so you don't enjoy like erratic changes which are beyond your control. You love to make changes, but, they got to be in your hands as well. So in that sense, it can feel quite nice because you are able to make whatever change you want from your inside out. But if you're expecting major change to happen externally, you might be disappointed here. Inventions, innovations, and other forms of breakthrough, they're all likely going to happen from an inside out perspective. And with retrogrades, you can't really expect where something comes from. So keep your mind open and just know that you don't know everything at this time. Okay, there's many more perspectives that will open up to you, especially because Mars is in Libra. Be open to understanding other people and listening to other sides of the story. That is only going to help your cause and your movement forward in whichever way you're passionate about. On the 31st, we have another full moon. This one is in Pisces. It's a lot more tranquil one. Pisces is about the collective unity, your unconditional love, compassion, empathy. In general, a lot more emotional. So this is once again lighting up your second house of personal finances, and of course it's a time of a full moon, so the sun is right opposite the moon, so the sun is in Virgo in that 8th house. This can be about wrapping up a cycle that has been ongoing for the last 6 months, let's say. It can be about maybe you owe someone some finances and it's time to repay them, or someone else owes you and then they are giving you back the finances, whichever way it applies for you. But it also indicates that you're done with a specific attachment, okay, something that you thought you have to just keep going, and even if you don't know why, or you don't really have a strong commitment to it, but you were just doing this and including that as a part of your life, you might realize around this time that I don't know why I do this, I don't need to do that, and I could just make my life much simpler and easier, have a much better flow. So because it's a time of full moon, completion and pivot is likely. You might change your routines or include some spiritual habits here. You might feel much nicer when you do a specific activity, so you're incorporating that in your everyday life or space, and that just ups your self-worth and how you just enjoy life in general. Okay, so that's what I have for you. Thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed and that the messages help you out throughout the month. Stay tuned for the tarot reading as well. I will be uploading them soon. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified whenever that's up. And if you enjoyed the reading, please do like and comment your thoughts if you have any. It will be really lovely to hear back from you, and it really helps the channel grow as well. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.